If you've been on social media lately, then you've probably seen tons of posts talking about this brand new AI video tool called Higgsfield AI. Well, in this video, we have asked Gabe Michael, who is an incredible AI video creator, to give us a rundown of how you can use this tool to create incredible cinematic results. All right, let's kick it over to Gabe with the tutorial.
Hey everybody, I'm Gabe Michael. I'm an AI filmmaker and creative production executive, and today we're going to jump into Higgsfield AI. You may have seen clips from Higgsfield all over your social feeds with really cool camera moves, explosions, and other types of special effects, but today we're going to jump in, check out the platform, and see what it's really all about. So once you jump into Higgsfield AI, it has lots of different motion controls, really cool effects. And if you kind of scroll through and scroll down the main page here, you'll notice a lot of the different types of effects that you can do. And as you kind of click through and point around, you can see what those are actually called. They're all referenced up here, so it's a little all over the place in order to find them. But when you do click on one to check it out, you can say, let's say dirty lens here. You can see a lot of samples of clips and images that they've used to generate these. And you can see what the model is capable of. So let's go back here and just look at a couple of these first before we get started on our own. So you notice here, they have some of their newer effects. This one is called Thunder God and Tuning Metal. What's interesting about Higgsfield is with their effects that they have, you can not only do one effect, but you can add a second one as well. So this one seems to be Thunder God and Tuning Metal. And as you'll see here, like there's a lot of samples of the projects that they've done. So I'm going to go ahead and click through on one of them just to see what that looks like on the back end here. They'll show you exactly what effects they used and then what the prompt is right here to get that effect. And you can easily push recreate if that's what you want to do. You know, with any of these models, I always suggest looking at the Explore page, kind of just like you would on Midjourney and seeing what they're capable of, but also see the prompts that people use. So let's first take a look at some of these camera controls. So we have the obvious zoom in. We can click in on any of these if we want to, but it's just a slow zoom in to the shot. And you can do this in a lot of other programs as well. And let's try something that most models don't have, which is this whip pan. And a whip pan, if you're unfamiliar, is when your camera is facing one way and then you whip the camera to the left or to the right and it reveals something or gets you in or out of a scene. So as you see here, let's look at this sample here. Starts on a collection of children and whip pans along with the kid that's running. Really cool effect. This one is one of my favorites, eyes in, and it's just like it sounds. We zoom straight into an eyeball. And this could be like a great thing for like a transition scene. And you could use it as a start or an end frame for your next piece here, but it goes right into the eyeball. And what's really cool about Higgsfield is that they've trained their models on very specific movements and very specific types of scenes. And if we can go to the effects tab here, you'll see a lot of the special effects, which have been, which a lot of people have been talking about lately. But they also have this thing here called Catch the Pulse. Or pulse. And as you see, these are very specific movements that are really hard for AI generators to do. You have like a baseball kick, which is really just like a baseball hitting the bat, boxing, a catwalk, skateboarding, an ollie. You got a skate cruise, and I'm sure that a skateboard glide. This one's really great, a moonwalk, right? And this is where I think Higgsfield stands apart, not just from their cool special effects, but from their ability to train on very specific movements. And this is something that is much needed throughout AI filmmaking. Okay, so before we jump into showing you how to use Higgsfield, I just want to take a moment and take a look at Iconic here. And as you'll see here, we're not going to spend too much time on this today, but you can put yourself into iconic movie scenes and scenes from films and memes. And you can do it in multiple different stylings, like The Simpsons, like Legos, and of course they have other names for them. So this is just like a new and really fun feature. And for those of us that want to make our own films and animate our own images, I think the real power of Higgsfield comes from when you actually go to create. So we're going to start with creating a video. We'll see here. This was my attempt at the iconic scene of the Godfather. Didn't really get the full beard, but it kind of got my likeness through here. Okay, so this is Higgsfield. This is Higgsfield create mode. And as you'll see here, they have a text to image model and an image to video model. So starting with the text to image model, it's exactly like most of the other generators, except for you can click here and it gives you a bunch of visual styles that you can choose from. So it's like a style reference guide, right? So let's start here with this Muppet. And I believe you can upload an image that will make it, that'll do like a styles reference here, but I'm going to do a man with a beard gives a YouTube lecture. And if you go down here, they have GPT 4.0 built right into it, or they have their standard Higgsfield model here. So we're going to go ahead and do the GPT one, just because we can illustrate in the style that we want to. So let's go over here to Muppet, and we can pick our aspect ratio here, and then we can pick the quality that we want. And it's going to cost more quality, but I like to do the highest quality always. So let's just generate that. And so as this cooks, I want to walk you through a little bit more of the options here. Because it's with text to video, because it's GPT 4.0, we have a lot of the styles that you've already seen on ChatGPT, like the bricks, as they're calling it, Family Guy, Family Boss, that's funny, Gravity Falls, which they're calling Gravity Force, and Jack Horse for BoJack Horseman. And there's others here, like Bob's Burger style, abstract cartoon, a general one, and these are just some of them. You can use it just like you would with ChatGPT if you had the credits, or you can bring them. You could bring in your images that you generated straight into there. So let's see. This was the very vague prompt that I gave of a man with a beard gives a YouTube lecture. It looks more like a lecture of a college professor, but I'll take it. And as you can see here, he is in the complete Muppet style, and it's obviously very beautiful because, in essence, it is ChatGPT 4.0. So going beyond text to image, we have image to video. So once you come into image to video, you will see you'll see the setup like this, where you have your movement or your effect right up top, and you can just click on it. And this is one of the best ways to see everything that Higgsfield has available. You can just go down, and you can really see the standard effects that they have here, which a lot of the other generators are starting to have as well. So these are just basic camera controls here, where you have your general, a car chase scene, dolly left, crash zoom in, and you can click through these and you can see some more examples of what they can do, or we can just jump right in. And then over here to the right, you're gonna have epic camera control. So for a lot more advanced camera moves, such as from down below, bullet time, fisheye effect, going in eyes in like we already did, a head tracking effect, which is pretty cool, super dolly in, robo arm, as many things as you can imagine, you can build on here. Also on this top control here is you can go to the trending effects, which shows you what most people want to use. But then you can also go to anything new that is hit within the last few weeks appears here, which is this one I can't wait to try out, the soul jump. And then they have the new effects tab, which is like really special effects, which we'll get into in just a moment here. And then beyond the standard, the special effects here and the camera control, we have the catch the pulse. And this is what we talked about briefly a second ago with the baseball kick, action run, moonwalk right, moonwalk left. And then they have the mixed feature here, which shows some of their standard mixed effects. Things like a crash zoom in with tentacles, crane zoom over the head and crash zoom in, levitation, turning invisible. So before we get started with any of those, let's pick an image and then we can pick the best effect to go along with it. I'm going to start with this image of a man standing in front of the Taj Mahal. And we do have the option now for most effects to do an end frame. So a start frame, end frame, which is really great when you add like a whip pan or any sort of other movement that you want to really direct the scene. You have more of that control now. But for now, we're just going to start with this image of a man standing in front of Taj Mahal. And then we are going to pick some very cool effects. Let's start with, so building explosion. So we have the building explosion effect, but now we clicked on a secondary motion, and we're just going to do a basic camera control. We're going to do a dolly in. So now it already knows that not only does it want the building to explode, but we want to dolly the camera in. So then we come down to the prompt here. It makes prompting a lot easier. So we need to be a little bit more specific with it because it already knows the image. It already knows what's going to happen. And then we know it knows the camera move as well. So we can mention these things or we can kind of just leave them blank. And then we can pick our model down here, which is standard, the light, which is for quick and standard speed, or the turbo, which is just like most models, the turbo. But I'm going to do standard because I have some time here. And I can pick the duration for this. So I'm going to go ahead and put 5 seconds. I don't need a seed, but we do have the ability to do so if we need to. So I'm going to go ahead and hit generate. Okay, now it's in the queue here. I'm going to hit it again just so we have a couple, 2 things to compare it to. So now we got 2 baking. I'm going to go ahead and try a couple of other things here. So I'm going to take out the dolly in. I'm going to mix. I'm going to leave the building explosion. Let's try a crash, zoom in, and a building explosion together. I'm going to leave the prompt the same. I'm going to come down here and hit generate. And as you see here, over to the left under the prompt, we have the enhance on. And this basically redoes the prompt for you. You can pick and choose to turn it on or off. I usually leave the enhance on until I know that it's not working, and then I take it off and try other prompts. This is what happens when we bake. We have to wait. Waiting for paint to dry. As they say, if you're cooking, you ain't looking. Or no, what is it saying? If you're looking, you ain't cooking, right? Got to get it, the old grill out. Here we go. Okay, so we got our first result here. And this is with the crash zoom in. And let's check it out. It was 3 seconds long. For some reason, I hit 3 instead of 5 for that. So that's probably why it took less time. But as you see, it didn't do the crash zoom in, but it did do the building explosion and the man falling backwards. So that was a plus. I'm going to go ahead and save that. Okay. And then this is one of our first ones here. Let's watch that again. So the building does explode and the man kind of just sinks back into the water that's down here as he's watching the explosion. This is one of our first ones here that we did. Building explodes, the man falls back. Great. Totally usable if that was the clip that I was going for. Yes. This is it right here. He falls completely back on his butt in the scene. It's not perfect, and just like any other model, you're going to need to re-roll multiple times in order to get it right for what you're trying to do. But you should check here and make sure that it is picked on the right time frame. Sometimes I think it throws it off depending on what the movement is here. But this is also something that we should note here is you can see here there's a slider on each effect. So the crash zoom in, and you can basically weight it for how much you want to weight. So these were down pretty low. So I'm going to go ahead and put this one all the way up to 100, and I'll pull the building explosion down a little bit and then see what that ends up looking like. So the building explodes and the man kind of takes a stutter step back and then falls into the water and morphs up with it. So there was something else beyond just an explosion happening in that one. Okay. So this one, the building explodes, the man hits the ground and then bounces right back and comes right towards the camera. So that was fun. I probably wouldn't use this in a project, but I'm gonna download it anyway. Let's try a new image here. I'm gonna go ahead and pick this man standing in front of this building here. And we'll start completely over with these. So let's check out with the effects. And let's try a mixed one here, building explosion and disintegration. As you see over here, it already gives you the different weights that they recommend. So for this one, 65% and 80% for the explosion versus the disintegration. The building stones and the man disintegrates. Wow, that was way off. We get to see how well I actually spell on here. I'm going to make sure 5 seconds is on. That doesn't seem to matter right now, but we'll check it out. Okay, I'm going to do that a couple times here. So it looks like we have one ready here. And let's watch it. Oh, that's pretty cool. So it did exactly what we asked it to. The building behind him exploded, and then he disintegrated. It looked like Thanos came to him before the building could take him. If I wanted to be more specific, I probably should have said that very tall building behind him. But for this one, there's multiple buildings here, so it didn't really matter. But this is a keeper. I'm definitely going to keep this one here. And we're going to try one more with the same prompt here. We're going to add in this image of this woman in a subway. Let's try a little bit more advanced here. Say the woman smiles, and then the subway explodes and the woman disintegrates. And this is going to be 5 seconds. We'll hit generate and see what that comes up with. Okay, here's our woman in the subway car, and let's check it out. She does smile at us. Wow. I mean, this is pretty cool. She smiles, the car explodes, and she turns to dust at the same time. That's a keeper. It is only 5 seconds right now, 3 to 5 seconds, depending on what effect you put on. I wish it was a little bit longer, but I'm sure that will happen in the future. Let's try some of the trending ones. We love this woman. We're not going to do a face punch for her, but let's maybe do a arc right, and let's see if we can mix that with something else pretty cool. Let's go to effects, and we'll have our woman turning metal. I'm gonna just go ahead and try this one with no prompt and see what happens. One here. Here's another one of our woman on the subway. And there's our... Okay. Well, that was a really cool morphing shot. We do arc right, and she does turn to liquid metal as she turns around. So, I mean, this could be a really cool effect if we did it intentionally. I actually would probably keep this depending on what the project is. But if, I had a woman that was morphing into a robot or a liquid version of a robot, I could see it looking something exactly like this. But, the fidelity here is actually just pretty amazing for this effect. Okay. And we're back to our subway girl here. Going to go ahead and click play, and that one was much better. We do arc right, and she does turn into a liquid form of herself. She turns into like a liquid metal form of herself. And what's amazing is they kept pretty much the same face here and the same structure. You pair this with another generator for your normal workflow, and you can get some really great outcomes for your short films, and especially for music videos. A lot of these are just very made for the music video side. Okay, and while those bake, we just added this picture of a 1980s high school show with a Cinderella-looking woman, and then we will try some fun effects here. So let's have her do a... Oh, there's so many that we could try. Kiss. There we go. So we're just going to try her to kiss. We're going to say the woman kisses the camera. And we'll see what that comes out with. Let's see what that looks like. So we're zooming right in as she kisses. Doesn't quite... maybe we're too far back. On some of these I've seen, she actually kisses the... camera lens, and you see it push up against there. So I assume we ran out of time on this one, but there's some little wonkiness there on the lettering, and maybe that's just the way that the image was designed. But That's a keeper, at least a trier. Okay, so we have another one of our Snow White looking woman here. So let's just zoom in. She leans in and gives us a nice smooch. I mean, this is as good as it's gonna get. It's just really good. The fidelity stays there. The camera movement is there. The people moving in the background. Okay, so now that we have our woman here, let's try another effect while some of these bake. We already have her turning into metal. Let's try our eyes in. Let's zoom all the way in to her. The woman smiles at camera as we zoom into her eyes. We can't zoom into two different eyes at the same time. So let's try that. That one didn't really work out well. This was the eyes in one. I kind of recreated her eye, and I think because the model looked down, that we don't see the eye, so then it hallucinated a face again. It's not perfect. The movements are pretty good for the most part, but it does have a little work to go still. But as with everything, you need to re-roll, you need to retry based on what you're going to do. So let's try a couple more shots here, some really fun stuff. Okay, this one here, a lot of models will not do any sort of violence, which is understandable. But sometimes you need a shot, right? You need that shot to show that somebody pulls the trigger on a gun. And in this case, what we can do is we can take this image of this clown holding a gun up, and then we can find a effect here where the lens cracks, and we will say the clown shoots the camera and the lens cracks. From my experiments, it doesn't just work with guns. It also could work with hitting the lens and hitting the lens with an object. And I believe it can work with hitting the lens with a fist, but we can try that one out as well. So we got our first video back from our clown shooting at the camera lens. Let's see how that worked out. I mean, beautiful. It's a little bit off because of where the gun is kind of pointed a little bit off screen. And so it's not exactly where the bullet is, but it's not lined up exactly. But I think with either tweaking that image or running this a couple more times, we might be able to get it there. So really like that one, at least like what it's capable of. And I we actually see him kind of pull the trigger back on that one too. It could be so fast in our edit that we wouldn't even notice that it doesn't quite line up to where he shoots. But with a little more work, I think that we could potentially get it there. Okay, now we got our second one of the clown here. Let's see how that turns out. Oh, that one was much better. The angle, and then he came in and hit the camera afterwards. That's pretty cool. But yeah, this is the one I would use. The angle is a little bit more on target here. Boom. Great. And I believe you could couple this with like a dirty lens, and you could say like blood spatters on there. Don't really want to show that today. I'm not a big fan of gore and blood and all that stuff, but I believe it is possible if you want to try it. We got this cool samurai with a sword, and let's have him turn into a thunder god. He's already kind of metal, so let's just do thunder god. Probably didn't need to do any sort of prompting here. I'm sure the model would have done it, but we will try that. Okay, so we got our little futuristic ninja here. I'm gonna go and click play, and he's supposed to turn into there we go. Yeah, that's pretty badass. So I believe it gave it a face because it needs a face to do this effect. But that's what's cool about this, is it can, and it does. So that's definitely a keeper. I'm gonna try another effect here. He's kind of off to the profile. So let's do face punch. We'll say a red robot's arm punches the warrior. And since enhance is on, it'll probably figure out what I need to do. So we'll let that go here. We have another one here that is finished. Let's take a look at that. It did exactly what I said. It said a red robot arm comes in and punches it. I was imagining it from the right side of the frame, so I probably should have said that, but you know, that could work. Let's see what this one is. So it exploded a little bit early, but look at that. It gave it some sort of, oh yeah, look at that. It's like got some gore and some facial tissue that's coming out from underneath the helmet. So with a little more prompting, we could probably get it to the place that we want it to be. But just the additions that it adds to this that I wasn't expecting or wanted is just amazing. Now, this is one I really want to try here. We got this man in a business suit with a robot hat floating in space. And that's exactly what I want him to do. I want to do, I believe it would be, there is a levitation. And there's like there's more even down here. If you click down here, you can see, okay, I mean, there's so many different types. So we have levitation, soul jump. That's one I do want to try. There's so many movements. We're not going to be able to cover all of these today. Okay, so I'm going to do a super dolly in, but then add in flying. It'd be nice to search for these, but hopefully they'll have a little bit better system for navigating this shortly. There we go. There it is, flying. So for this, I'm going to up the weight of flying because I really want him to fly. And then let's see. The man flies as we dolly in. Okay, let's try that one. Okay, we did see that one. All right, we're going to try this one out here. This is our man flying and with a super dolly in. Kind of turned his shirts into headlights a little bit. So I want to see what the next one is. Maybe it's the dolly in. I'm going to go ahead and cut that. I'm just going to say the man flies towards camera. So as you would with any other tool, you have to look at the output, adjust it, maybe do 2 or 3, see what the model wants to do, and then adjust your prompts from there. And you can always turn enhance off if that's causing you issues and not getting exactly what you want. Okay, as that loads, we got our man. There we go. He kind of turns into a scene of him flying. I think the better image is would have been the man with his hands already out, ready to fly, if I wanted to go forward with this, because he's kind of turning into that. And then it's kind of, you know, it gives some halation on the initial image that I put in. So I think that's getting kind of caught up with making it super bright in the output here. So we're going to do one more try with this guy just because I really love the image. We will try, let's do some of the mixes. I saw one that I really like. So levitation and turning invisible. There we go. I'm going to just go ahead and turn the prompting off for this one because it's already kind of levitating. So it should be the man rises and then turns invisible. Exactly as it sounds. And this is the levitation. You know, little prompting we can get it where we want. Okay, here's the levitation one with our guy floating here. Yeah, so it does it. He levitates as he kind of gradually goes up, and then doesn't really disappear. I could probably have, I did 70%. I probably should have changed the weights there on it, but you know, with a little more tweaking, we can get it there. And then we'll just try a couple more. Let's go to, I'll try this one here. Okay, so for this one here, I have a man running, it's a chaotic scene. So I want to do the action run and set on fire. I'm going to turn set on fire down quite a bit and up on the action run, and then see what that ends up looking like. So let's try another one of these of the action run and the man going on fire. It looks like we got our epic running down the hall. Let's see what that turns. Okay. It's exactly what it is. It's people in chaos running down the hall and then lighting on fire. you get what you ask for. So this one was a little too much people. I could change the prompting on it a little bit, but also the initial image was a little all over the place. So let's look at this one more time here. There we go. This one is a lot better. So we see him and he's running down the hall and he lights on fire and everybody's screaming as he goes. So, use it to tell your story. Then I'm gonna do a couple more camera movements just because they're so fun. Feel free to use whatever ones we want of this. The thing about Higgsfield is you can mix and match all these different effects, and really, you could spend days experimenting with this if you had enough credits. And I suggest that you do, but maybe really have an idea of what you want in mind and see if any of you could back into the shot that you're trying to achieve. I'm gonna try now this fun whip pan image. We're gonna start with this woman on a runway, and then I'm gonna do an end frame for this one because the whip pan will actually be pretty great. So I'm gonna end with a baby in like a podcast studio. And so we'll find our Epic Camera Control. I believe it's under that one. And we're gonna look to whip pan, like saying that, like cool whip. Whip pan. So the woman looks camera right, and then we whip pan to baby in a podcast studio. Okay, we'll give that a go. All right, so we have our model here, and we're gonna whip pan over to this baby. That kind of works. It goes through a lot of cables and walls and things like that on the way, but eventually finds its way to the baby. So, depending on the effect that you're looking for, that could work. Okay, that one was kind of like a whip pan left, right, trying to find the frame. And I think with something with maybe in the same environment, it would be a better whip pan. Okay, so that was like a whip pan left, but then back right through like a matrixy thing. But that first one I thought was pretty good. So I'll keep that one. I love how it sees the cables on the left, on camera left, before showing the whole scene. So it really does a good job at that. Okay, and I have time for just one more. So one thing that Higgsfield does really well is work with cars. So I'm gonna there's a car racing scene. I just put two cars kind of side by side, and they have multiple car effects. They have car grip. They have the car grip here, which means it just kind of stays on the outside. And then they have, I believe there's a car chase scene. Car chasing, here we go. So this kind of creates like a car chase scene. So we're gonna say the cars race neck and neck. I'm gonna get this one going. And then I'm gonna try one with an explosion. So they have a very specific car explosion. So let's go to the mix. I believe they already have that. Car chasing and building explosion. Yep, let's try that. I want to do more of the car chase and a little less explosion. And then the buildings explode. Let's hit generate there. We got our first car chase scene here, so let's take a look. And they are exactly what I prompted, neck and neck. I wish the one car overtook the other one, but I can prompt for that. So that's pretty good. Let's see, the cars race neck and neck, and then the red car jumps in front. I'm not gonna say jumps. Red car goes in front of the white, and while buildings explode. Okay. The white car. See what that looks like. Okay, we got our second one in here, and this is with the car chase and the building explosion. So let's see if it follows our prompt. A little bit going backwards here, but it's pretty cool. I mean, it looks like everything's being sucked backwards, which could work depending on what the story is. But yeah, maybe there may have been something there with the prompt or the auto prompt that was there. But it does have buildings exploding, and it does have the cars racing. It's just happens to be backwards, which if you used other models, it's really hit or miss with what they see as car movement, whether going forward or backwards. So it's just something that needs to be worked on in AI video space overall. Let's see, we got one more. Let's see what this one looks like. And again, the buildings explode. Okay, the second half of this clip is actually kind of usable, but we do kind of go backwards with them in this kind of dolly zoom thing. So maybe there's something there that I need to fix with prompting. Hey, there we go. 3 rolls and we got it right. That's amazing. The cars are the red car overtakes the white car just as the buildings are exploding, creating an amazing shot. Totally usable depending on what your story is, of course. Okay, let's quickly jump in and talk about pricing. Higgsfield starts with a free trial, lets you get 25 free credits, which is like enough for like 1 or 2 videos, and of course it gives a watermark. But you know, for the value that they bring, they have an if you do the annual plan, you can get the basic plan for about $9 a month. And you know, I would recommend starting there to try and see how much you're actually going to use it. And you get commercial use, fast track generations, and then it shows you here kind of what it equals out to. So if you're going to make videos, images up to 300 images, and then with video, you get up to 30 generations. So if you want to do like a very specific shot for something that you're working on, that may be the way to go. But this one is a really great deal, the pro deal. It's only $20 a month and gives you 600 credits and takes off the watermark, commercial use. So for only about $11 more, you get about 4 times the amount of generations. And then they have the unlimited plan, which is $55 a month, but for 1,500 credits. And then you can do 200 credits bonus for your first month. You can do up to 4 concurrent jobs at a time, which is what I'm currently doing. You can get access to the turbo model, which goes a lot faster. And then you have your start and end frame access. And then this is really exciting because they do give you access to their newest and test features and upcoming features a couple days earlier than everybody else. So if you like really love Higgsfield and you want to just be on top of it, like this may be the plan for you. And with that, you can get up to 300 generations a month. If you run out of credits, you can always go and buy more credits with a credit pack here. For $5, you get 80 more credits. You can purchase 170 credits for $10, 380 credits for $20, and then 840 credits for $40. It really depends on how much you need to use Higgsfield, so you may be able to mix and match a plan that's right for you. Okay, so that was the epic Higsfield AI. I'm going to be using this for a lot of my really advanced camera movements, special effects, and things like that. And I can't wait to see what you come up with your projects. I'm Gabe Michael, and as always, be well, do good, make awesome things. Back to you, Caleb.
Thank you so much for watching this video tutorial. Of course, you can like and subscribe to get even more tutorials in the future. And if you enjoyed this video, be sure to let us know in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one.